There he is, the pound-for-pound king in the sport of boxing. When Floyd Mayweather fights, it is a spectacle.
Hey, got your hat. Got your hat. My brother, bro.
Got your fucking hat.
When your idols become your rivals, that shit sucks. I'm looking Floyd in his beady little eyes at the press conference, and I'm like, this is one of the greatest boxers of our generation. I'm gonna beat the shit out of him.
You got the once defeated versus the undefeated. I go online, yo, you're gonna get your fucking ass beat. You're gonna die in the ring. Yo, the motto for this fight is fuck everyone.
Pro-ass fight against the best fighter on the planet? Suck my dick.
Round 2 of the NBA playoffs. This is where you separate the pretenders from the contenders. Get some skin in the game with DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports.
There are free-to-play pools every day of the basketball playoffs, offering players a free shot at up to $10,000 in total prizes each day.
And the best part, it's free to play. Download the DraftKings app and go to pools and choose from a wide variety of contests for opportunities to win cash prizes.
Just answer a handful of questions of what you think is going to happen during the day's basketball games. Then track your results throughout the evening.
Questions will range from which team will hit the most threes to which teams will score first.
DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience.
Download the top-rated DraftKings app now and use the promo code SMOKE when you sign up and get your free shot at $10,000 in total prizes every day of the basketball playoffs.
Huge cash prizes available through the DraftKings pool page. Make sure you use promo code SMOKE during sign-up for a limited time only at DraftKings.
Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for full details. Welcome back to another edition of All the Smoke. Stak, what's good?
Good, bro.
Man,
Another day, another dollar. Let's get it.
Man, we got two very special guests today, Oscar Award winners, Travon Free.
What's going on, man?
My man, Van Lathan.
What's up, G?
Man, rub some of that Oscar love out.
Man,
we trying to get some, you know what I mean?
Something. I'm trying to win something. Man, let's get right to it, man. Two distant strangers struck gold.
Yeah, man.
Took home the Oscar a few weeks ago. You guys tell us how that came about.
For me, it was like last year, everybody saw the same video, what happened to George, and, you know, we were all in quarantine, and, you know, we finally had a reason to go back outside, and it was just like experiencing those marches and the protests and seeing how the energy around these names and these people had been built up in a way that I had never experienced it before, or like the whole world was protesting. And it was like through internalizing that and experiencing it every day, because we were going out like every day, like just wanting to be out there every day. And when you're kind of internalizing that, the pain of hearing a different name, hearing Breonna's story, hearing Ahmaud's story, seeing George's story, you feel like you're just living in that loop, like of emotions every single day. You just go through it over and over and over again. And in that cycle, you go from like anger to sadness, hopelessness, and then hopefully back to being hopeful again and trying to figure out, you know, how can we stop this shit from happening? And when I had that idea of like, or that thought of like, this feels like the worst version of Groundhog Day. It was just like, you know, I gotta do something with that. It just kind of stuck with me, and it was that script. Like I just went and wrote that script. I wrote it in like 5 days.
Damn,
and
you got right to it.
Yeah, it was one of those things too. It was like my background is TV writing, so you know you have to write a half-hour script in a week when you get an assignment on a show. And nobody was working, nobody was doing nothing. And I was like, well, I need something to do anyway. Like I can pour this energy into this thing that I already know how to do, and, you know, just see what kind of comes out of it. And then I told Van about it, and he read it, and he was like, you gotta do this like this year. Because we were like toying with like, do we wait? Do we like shoot this like next year?
No better time than now.
He was wilding.
And so like Van, Zaria, like everybody's like, you gotta do it now.
His ass, like the idea comes and he comes with the script. And I think his TV background is like he's used to pitching something and getting the feelers on it and see how it goes. And I remember me, him, and Nick, when we started our company 6 Feet Over, we had already been having like meetings about what it was that we wanted to go out with. And we're talking about all of these great things. We putting together pitch decks, man. We go and sit down in studios. We have flyers, animated show. We got all of this different shit. And then he goes, you know, I got this idea, man. It's like a Groundhog's Day thing, and it's like it has to do with police violence. I'm listening to him talking about it. I'm like, nigga, are you sick? Like, that's the idea. Like, we got to do that
especially now.
Right now. And we can't wait. Like, if we look at it, just the design of everything was that this was going to be a time where there wasn't much content that was coming out, right? Where people felt hamstrung. They felt like they couldn't overcome the obstacles that were in the way of getting your art out.
Yeah.
Right now, we had everything we needed. We had the creative vision. We had all of the sort of connections. We could get it all done. We had great partners with people over at Dirty Robber. I didn't even know who they were yet, right? And so it was like, we get this done now. We get a chance to contextualize this moment for so many people. And after that, it was just gas pedal to the end. Like, nobody took a breath, especially not Travon and Martin.
How difficult was it? I mean, if you guys can answer, but bringing all this together during COVID, because nobody was shooting, nobody was doing nothing. I'm sure the budget was all over the place because, like I said, there's so much uncertainty during that time.
It was, I mean, keeping it real, it was insane. Like, everything we were trying to do defied logic of how this stuff works, of what's possible, even in a non-pandemic, like all of it, like none of it was all just like, we just gonna aim for the moon and see like what happens. And there was this energy around the project where it just wanted to happen. It just wanted to work out. Like, every wall we hit, we found a way through it. And so it was like, write the script in July. August, we start raising money. We go to KD, we go to Mike Conley, we go, like, everybody's just like, ask whoever you know. Whoever
Nick,
you know.
you didn't fucking come to me, but go ahead.
ask whoever you know who will give us any amount of money to do this. And what makes that even crazier is they weren't even allowing people to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, there was no guarantee that we could do all this, raise all the money, get to the point where we are ready at the start line and actually be able to shoot it. And so we just doing it with the hope that when we get to September,
you're gonna be able to do this.
They might allow people to start shooting again. So we get Joey in beginning of August. Andrew was like the first person I told about it before I even wrote it. And he's on board. We get the casting, Zaria, everybody's like on board. And we just chasing money while we also chasing permits and setting up the bank account. We started with $0. We finished production with less than $0.
Negative dollars.
Yeah, I believe it.
And it got to the point where we were filming, when we were able to film, we didn't have enough money to finish all 5 days of filming. We were still chasing money while we were shooting. So we got the money for like the last 2 days while we were filming the actual movie. And so it was all just like building the plane while you falling out of the sky. Like,
it came together though.
And I kid you not, man, every step of the way, like, it was just like blessing. Like, the permits, they take 4 to 6 weeks. We got them in 3 days. Like, all these things that were supposed to be obstacles, that was supposed to make this impossible, they just fell away. The COVID stuff, that when we raised like almost $300,000, like, which would have been enough to like shoot the movie. And we finally get to SAG, and they're like, so you need to have a company, a COVID company, like, approved, like, create a plan for you guys' like testing and everything. We find a company. It is literally half of the money we raised. So it's like, spend half of your money that you already have to be able to do the movie, but now you don't have enough money to do the movie. And so we're like, well, shit, we got to do it. We just have to go find more money. And so I'm like, Van, Nick, everybody, Samir, everybody, just go get $5 from somebody, get like whatever you can get.
Again, Nick.
But the crazy thing about it was that we had so many people working on the problem. So many people were cooking. Like, we didn't even know what other people's recipes were.
Yeah.
Like, we were at Lawrence's house. Lawrence Bender, another producer on the movie. And me and Travon were talking. We were talking about getting it financed, right? And me and Travon said then, we said, okay, well, you know, to start off, if we have to go in our own pockets and pay for the movie, then we'll do that. Now, that was me saying that, not thinking that that was actually going to happen, right? God, it will come up with it some kind of way. But now we had to.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first things to where the commitment that I had to make, the first commitment I had to make was to myself. was that this is something that I'm willing to gamble on. Because you spend X amount of dollars on a short, that's money that you have to be okay with not getting that back.
Right.
So it was a lesson for me in that the idea and the art had to be more than the game.
Right.
And that's a hard step to make. Everybody want to make something dope so you can go out and tour on it, get on a jet with it, get a deal with it, get let into all of the clubs with it. But when you're making it just to get it off your chest, that's normally when you hit your mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Samir was instrumental because, funny story about like Samir. Samir is a guy who we added to 6 Feet Over a little bit later, but he was the one that was doing the Mike Conley stuff and the Rich Kleiman, the Kevin Durant stuff.
Yeah, shout out Mike Conley, Kevin Durant, Rich Kleiman for being a part of the pro.
For being a part of the project, yeah. And so I talked to Durant, me and him DM sometimes, right? And so I'm hearing that he's gonna be on the project or he's on the project. So I shoot him a DM. I'm going, hey, bro, I hear we're gonna be working together. No response. So I'm thinking,
and you know he's on that motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm like, no response. I'm thinking, well, damn. Do we really even have that fucking money? Like, are we gonna be stuck? Is this some nigga telling Samir that he's Kevin Durant? And like, we're not gonna get the bread. So, and everything. But another thing is stress demands that you sit in it, right? So whenever you're stressed out about something, one crucial ingredient to stress is concentration. In order to be stressed about something, you have to concentrate on what's wrong with you, right?
Right.
And we all do that. We're like, our bodies are wired to do that, right? We're wired to concentrate on what's going wrong so we can fix it. It's a pro-evolutionary trait.
Right.
In this situation, we just did not have time to be stressed out.
Right.
We didn't have time. I sent the list of people that I know in this business, all of my pro-Black warriors that I sent this script to and asked to be involved. It's a who's who of the industry. And of all of that, none of those people came through.
Damn.
And it's not even a shot to them. It's just it was something we had to do.
Right. You wasn't gonna get no help.
Yeah, we had one guy, my bad. One guy came through after a while. Shout out, my bad. He gonna be pissed off. Puff did.
Okay.
Puff did. Puff was my big cat. So after a while, Puff came through and you know, Puff was very instrumental. He helped us out. But it was something we had to do ourselves and with the people who wanted to be a part of it, you know?
So talk to me, because I'm in this space. Take me through the process. So you guys created the film. Did you take it to any festivals? I heard you guys sold to Netflix eventually, right? So take us through the process of once you made it, it premiered. What was that route?
So we shot it, we got it. At that point, we got nobody. It's just us. It's just a movie we paid for and made. And, you know, we were courting Netflix, like, yo, like, we got this movie. All of us have Netflix connections. We're trying to get them to buy into it and, like, you know, help us like, pick up this bill that we, like, are trying to pay. And they kind of was, like, around, and they just ghosted us. And so November comes. You gotta, like, the only festival we were able to even submit to time-wise was Sundance, and they rejected us. And so we're like, well, all we have left is we can submit for the Oscars. And so that was like, I think December 1st or 2nd, we submit, and we are just like kind of waiting around, like hoping, you know, because you find out if you actually qualify. Once you submit, you don't guarantee you qualify. You have to meet all these like
requirements.
And so we qualify, and we're like, cool. Now we like, okay, so we not only do we have negative money, we like owe like $100,000 to the movie or some crazy number, and now we need to hire a publicist to represent the movie so that we can like campaign it because we submitted for the Oscars. Like, cool. All right. So we start like, everyone's like, this dude at Rogers and Cowan is supposed to be the best. He repped Kobe's movie. They won. They repped Parasite. They won. Like, so it's like, go talk to this dude. So we find Craig Grivey at Rogers and Cowan, and he's like, yeah, cool. Like, yeah, normally we don't do stuff this last minute. Like, normally we get a movie a year in advance, and then we campaign throughout the year. That's the normal process. Y'all want us to pick up the movie literally a month before the Oscar voting starts. And so we're like, yeah, we kind of like, that's what we want to do. And so like, look, I can't guarantee y'all like anything will happen, but we could try. Also, the bill is going to be like, when it's all said and done, like close to $300,000 or something like that. And at this point, we're like, who the fuck? Like, who okay.
Put that fucking payment on layaway.
And so we just like
Cash App you something.
we just like let's do it. And luckily for me, I had just sold a movie to Apple, so the check came the week after this phone call.
You didn't get to smell it.
And so I was able to just pay as we went, whatever we needed, up until the point that we could find distribution. And so once we got nominated, Netflix was like, "Hey, remember us?"
Right. That's how it works.
And they paid real. They had to make up for the fact that they was at the dance before it started, and then came along. And so they we don't have no bills no more. To put
That's
it say
a
the
beautiful
least.
thing, man.
On
But it's
the
crazy.
festival point, I do want to shout out one group though. I want to shout out to people from Tribeca because I sent it to Amy Schumer, and Amy Schumer. This is the first time I knew that the movie really was going up, right? Because I sent it to Amy Schumer, and then Amy Schumer turned around and she got the people from the Tribeca Film Festival involved, and there was like a conversation with them about them accepting it to Tribeca, but that's not until August of this year. So we would have had to wait the whole cycle.
Right.
So there was some festival love out there, but that's like the first time they were so enthusiastic about the movie, and I want to shout out the people at Tribeca Film Festival. That was the first time that I realized, hey, like this
You're onto
product,
something.
yeah, this people love this.
And it happened right after, like she was like the next day after we found out we didn't get into Sundance.
Right.
He was like, "Yo, they really want the movie."
They wanted it
like
bad.
she wanted it bad, and I was like, "Okay, so we not like crazy,
Right. So
Like,
the movie's good, right? Like Amy goes right away. She goes crazy. She sends it over. We talked to the lady. We just couldn't make it work. But I want to make sure that they know that like we appreciated that, even though we went the way that we went. We had to.
No, you had to do what's best for
Couldn't
you guys.
wait. Had to
Right.
talk.
Yeah.
Had to tell a story
Right.
now.
Yeah.
So Oscar night comes. Walk us through that night. I mean, you guys have made it. And it did, I mean, obviously it's a dream, but when you're actually there, was it to pinch yourself? What was that shit like?
Yeah, man, I hadn't slept in like 4 months, bro. Like not like I'm not even exaggerating. Like I thought I was sleeping from January to April, and
I
it,
thought I was sleeping.
and it wasn't until the night after everything was over and we won, and I went to bed that night, and I was like, oh, like that's what sleep feels like, because the stress
Right.
of
'Cause
the
all this
whole
shit happened so
process,
fast,
it was
though.
fast.
Right.
Not only was it fast, but every day you are spending 5 hours a day talking about police brutality. Just
Draining.
like talking about it every single day, all day. And then right before nominations, Dante Wright gets killed. All of our press, we had finally gotten the press to a point where it was about the filmmaking. It was about like what we did and like the art of it all after we had beat the like talking about the police stuff to death. And that happens and it all shifts back. And it's like all immediate. And it's like every interview wants to talk about Dante Wright. Everybody wants to talk about the Chauvin verdict about to come out the next week. And then the verdict comes down the last day of voting. So people have one more day to vote. The Chauvin verdict comes out and there's 2 hours left to vote. And Hollywood Reporter writes, immediately puts out a piece about our movie.
Wow.
And
Timing.
like just like
The
the timing of it all was
Yeah.
just so crazy.
The
Like
timing.
every part of like what we went through, it just the fact that we got nominated around the time the trial started, it just kept lining up with the whole thing where our movie was the most in the moment right now movie in the entire
Timing is
Oscars
everything.
of every movie.
Right.
And people were telling us like, yo, y'all movie is more talked about than like the Best Picture nominees. And it's a short. And it was just like, we just hit this part of the zeitgeist with what people were feeling and what was happening in the country in a way that just we never could have imagined or predicted.
And it's crazy because you say timing is everything, and it is, but I'm convinced of something now is that timing is everything, but timing is also divine. Things happen at the time that they're supposed to happen.
There you go.
And
There you go.
the best thing that you can do is be prepared. Because when it's your time, you got to be able to meet the moment.
Yep.
We were having a production call about whether or not to start this whole thing with premiering the movie at Tribeca later on, and then going for the award season and the festival season next year, or whether or not to do it now. And I remember Lawrence said something. Lawrence Bender, one of our producers. Shout out to Lawrence Bender and Jesse Williams. Lawrence said, in order for us to get this done this year, I'm just letting you guys know that everything would have to go perfectly. And when you hear that, that's daunting because, like, what goes perfectly?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? He goes, everything would have to go perfectly. And for whatever reason, it did. I mean, it wasn't, when you look back on it, it didn't go perfectly, but it went
found a way.
exactly the way that it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And so, man, it's like I never was a part of anything like that before.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
It felt like magic, man.
Yeah. Obviously, winning an Oscar is a tremendous honor, but what is it like to win an Oscar when you're telling such an important, timely story? Because, I mean, obviously, you can make a great film and, hey, we won the Oscar, but it's a great piece. Like, this piece was important and timely as well. So how much did that add to the excitement of actually winning?
That was the thing that probably made me the most, like, nervous throughout the whole process, like, stressed out throughout the whole process, because we had made this movie that was so not what you normally see in the Academy, not the kind of stuff you normally see them embrace.
Yep.
And we had been told from the beginning, it's like, yo, y'all got to walk this really, really, really fine line because this, like, love it or not, like, this body of voters is like older white people.
And you bring in all black folk.
And we not only have this big black team of creatives and producers, but we also have a movie about the most hot button thing being talked about in the country right now. And you know, they can either flat out reject it or they can like embrace it. And when we got shortlisted, we were like, okay, that's interesting. And then we get nominated and we're like, oh, like that's it. Like we might actually be doing something. And then you get to the point where it's like, well, is it this going to be that thing where it's just like, oh, we'll nominate you guys because like, you know,
do your favor.
We
it's that time.
Like, yeah, like we want people to think we like are almost there or kind of there. And so I was just like, I don't know if they gonna accept this. Like, I don't know if they can have this conversation with us. And so many people were telling us, like, y'all gonna win, y'all gonna win, y'all gonna win. Even from back in January, y'all gonna win. And I just couldn't believe it until it happened, man. Like, it was just hard. It was really like stressful. Just the weight of knowing that if this movie wins, what it says to the world.
Right.
If the most prestigious award you can win for film is given to a movie that was inspired by the death of George Floyd, that is about police brutality and not like softly about police brutality.
Real shit in your face.
That is like in your face, like making you confront the thing you don't want to talk about. Like that's gonna be huge. Like that's gonna be game changing. And so it was just the closer you get, you feel the weight of like, are we gonna actually do it? Like, is it gonna actually happen? Because it's gonna change all of our lives. Like even being nominated is gonna change all of our lives, but winning is gonna be spectacular. Like, not only are we making history, like no black person's ever won this award, but also like you've invited all of these very black, very pro-black people to the conversation in a way that they've never been invited.
That's important. This is for both of you, but I'll go with Van first. How has your life changed since winning an Oscar?
Shit, people from high school didn't come out the woodwork.
Oh, they know you.
Let me hold something.
Yeah, man.
Know you got it.
You know, they, you know, it's like, oh shit, man, the price going up, bro. It ain't going up yet. Let it ruminate for a second.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think a couple of things though. Number one, obviously, we have a lot more opportunities to tell the next story, which is very important. It's weird. For me, validation from my community and my culture is first.
By far.
It is first. You know what I mean? It's first. So the conversation surrounding Two Distant Strangers, the good and the bad, I'm willing to sit down and have front-facing conversations with the people from my community, right? Because their validation means something. Because it's them that we're trying to make whole. And the reality is, you don't want to have to make a movie about this. And I want to make a distinction about something, because there's a huge conversation surrounding stories featuring Black trauma, right? And people talking about stories where Black people get brutalized. I want people to pay attention to the end of our movie. At the end of our movie, the last picture of Carter that you see, he's alive. He's not only alive, he has agency. He's emboldened. He's ready to take on the challenge that exists outside of his door. And he's going to be brave about it. He's going to be diligent about it. And he's going to be persistent about it. And he's telling you into the camera that we are going to win.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to win. It's not going to be an easy journey, but we're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that was purposefully done by Travon. That's purposefully done to say that there's not enough forces out there that can make our community sit in trauma in perpetuity. We are going to figure this out, or everybody else is going to have to figure something out. But America, as it currently exists, you're looking at a generation of people that just refuse to live in this. We're not going to live in this. And if everything comes apart, then everything comes apart. But it's not going to be like this forever. And so you're making a film like that. You're specifically telling that story. And the Oscar, what it means is that you did it to a high degree. It means you executed the filmmaking to a high degree. It means technically the film looks great. It's written great. It's acted great. It's shot great. And you hit your thematic target, right?
Perfect.
The response from your community tells you whether or not it's good or not. Good in that particular point, it has to come from me, from the people who can understand the experience and who can parse apart what their emotions feel like. If it's good and authentic to them, you win. The Oscar helps you tell the next story. And the next story hopefully is a heartfelt romantic comedy with two black people on a cruise, drinking Mai Tais or hijinks and comedies or black superheroes or all of that stuff.
Just opening the door.
Opening the door for you to be able to do what you got to do because they know you can execute the film in a filmmaking fashion.
Right. I mean, similar in our space. I mean, obviously, our basketball backgrounds, knowing in this space, we're gonna have to come in talking about sports. But once we prove we can do that, you can step into other spaces. We open that door to go whatever direction.
Yeah,
now we're respected in several different spaces, so it's obviously very similar to what you guys have going on. Travon, how has it changed for you?
I mean, it's been drastic, man. Like the amount of, like, people tell you like, oh, if you win, like, things are gonna be different. But when you actually experience I've been in meetings for the last 3 weeks, bro. Like every day, it's people like, do you want to direct this? Do you want to write that? Do you want to direct this? Do you want to write that?
Love it.
Like, and not even like it's
real shit.
Big, like big names, big budget, where you're like, damn, like 3 weeks ago,
You didn't even fucking fuck
like,
with
like y'all didn't even like, I wasn't even on y'all radar for this kind of. Now you're like bringing me $50 million movies to like
love
go
to hear
like
that.
do, and you're like, I could have did it 3 weeks ago too, but like it's that thing. It's just the way the business works. Where like you have to
prove yourself.
You got to prove it. You get a road laid out in front of you where people are going to probably let you work for the rest of your life as long as you don't like do something crazy.
Right.
And you know what's funny about that too is like, you know, you see people win an Oscar for like some movie where they play like a brilliant heroin addict, genius saxophone player.
Go out their body, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then after they win the Oscar, their next movie is a movie with them and an animated gorilla. And you think to yourself, like, why are they doing that? And the reason is because they come at you with all of these ideas and you go, well, shit. For $30 million, I'm
gonna try this too. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like, and that's why there is a degree once you've got yourself into a world, there is a degree of discipline that comes along with it too.
Yeah.
You know
Can't
what I
take
mean?
everything.
So right,
do
exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
That's when you get the most temptation.
No, there was definitely like a couple days ago, actually, we got offered, I can't say what movie it was, but it's a really fucking big movie. And I said no to it like pretty quickly because it was one of those things where it's like, oh, this is the trap.
They're gonna try to
Like
make
this is the thing where like, it was one of those situations where like directors fell out, they need a replacement, and it shoots in like 4 months, and like and it's like, if you had told me a year ago somebody would offer me like something like this and I would say no to it, I'd be like, hell no, I'm gonna say yeah. Like, and now like you said, everything is different. You got to like calculate all these things.
You recognize
like,
the trick bag.
Yeah, where it's like, yes, that is a great bag and a great like name
but
project,
the risk
but it ain't like, it don't fit
Yeah.
it don't fit right now. It don't fit with what we trying to do. It don't fit the long-term thing. And you can't just like, if you fall into it, like it could be a year or two from now, you ain't like doing nothing. Like,
No, but it's good you guys have a vision. Like you say, you're not just falling. Like you have you have your plan, your shit is mapped out, and that doesn't fit in the plan, no matter how big or what the money is. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Who are some of y'all influences in the film business that inspired you?
Wow. Well, obviously Spike Lee. I think the finest movie, my favorite movie, the greatest achievement in black film ever, one of the greatest achievements in film ever is Mo Better Blues.
Yep, good movie.
Perfect film. Spike Lee, Stanley Kubrick, Bill Duke. From a filmmaking standpoint, obviously you love guys like Steven Spielberg. Ryan Coogler, I think to me.
Shout out Ryan, he's a monster.
To me, I think Ryan Coogler right now is the best director working. He's just got a genius way of pacing story. Like when you think about Black Panther, right? And you know that Ryan Coogler's, from Oakland. When you think about what was done in the filmmaking there, to take that story with all of those powers, with all of that scale, with all of that mythology going back to the 60s in that character, and ground that film in Oakland in a struggle of worldwide blackness. Think about it. That struggle, that has to do with the Black American struggle as juxtaposed to an international identification and identity of blackness. The fight is really between the takeaway in that movie is the fight is really between us.
Each other, yeah.
About how much we want to help us.
Yeah.
About our duty and responsibility to us. And everything that comes from outside of that is just distractions. Like in that movie, Claw and the CIA and all of these, they're just distractions to the real fight, which is between different versions and visions of blackness. He did that with a superhero movie. That's genius action right there. That's amazing work. But I'm a film geek. So the Stanley Kubricks of the world, the Martin Scorseses of the world, like all of those guys.
Dope.
You just have to have a palette, you know what I mean, of influences.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, obviously, like so many of the names he said, but directly, like I'm inspired by Barry Jenkins so much, and the way that he moves the camera, and the way that he can, just take something. He can make anything beautiful in a way that I want to just study it all the time. But like Alfonso Cuarón is another big one for me. Like his ability to like bring you into a story and almost make you forget that like you're a part of it is something that I admire. Wong Kar-wai is just like one of the most beautiful filmmakers like in the world, and I try to like look at what makes so many of the greats great, and then I try to figure out what element of myself I connect to in that, and like how that shapes me as a filmmaker, because it's that thing where like like I started in stand-up, so every stand-up, when you're starting out, you're imitating whoever your favorite comic is. Like it's just bar none. Like you just always start out writing like whoever jokes that sound like your favorite comic. And over time, you do it long enough, you start to find yourself in it. You start to figure out, who you are, what your voice sounds like. And it's why we all have influence. It's why everybody was trying to like fade away like Mike and do all this thing until you figure out, what your game is, or how until you find yourself. I find myself doing it as a filmmaker and a writer where, I spent the early part of my career writing for other people, writing for other showrunners, writing for other actors and things like that. And then over time, within that, you start to figure out who you are and what elements of this is like, oh, this is just the show, but this part of the script is actually like me. Yeah. It's like what I feel, what I want to do. And John Singleton is another one. Like I just like the way he can tell a story is, I mean, it's going to be missed.
Unflinching and unforgiving.
It's going to be
right
missed.
To the point, John.
And
damn.
So like that's kind of where I found my influence in figuring out, how I want to tell stories visually.
Yeah, man. John was rest in peace, John.
Rest
I got
in
a
peace,
chance
John
to go
Singleton.
to the were you there? Or Nick might have been there. John Singleton when they played Poetic Justice, the 25-year anniversary of Poetic Justice.
I didn't make it.
Nick, you was there, right? I went with you, right? That shit was dope, man. To just rewatch the film and then hear the stories about who was supposed to play what and all the drama that happened with
Yeah.
Pac, and then that shit was cold. But and fun fact, when I first started thinking of this show, Van was our third person that no one knows.
Oh, yep.
Remember the meeting we had at Viola?
We did.
Van couldn't get out of his TMZ
Couldn't
contract,
get
so
out
we
of
had
his
to leave
TMZ
him.
contract.
But like when I first started this show, I was like, Jack, me and you, I was like, who's our third person? Who's our third person? I'm like, let's go get Van.
Let's meet at Viola. Bet, let's chop it up.
Met at Viola, go to Viola, have a great time. I'm like, yo, this is gonna work, man.
So you told us you needed a year.
I needed a year.
Yeah.
I needed a year. They wouldn't let me out. And you know, something about that is, once again, the show is better without me. It is. It's like the show is better without me. The reality is that, like, everything, people get so caught up in the opportunities that they missed and the things that didn't happen. You just gotta know that whatever's out there for you, man, you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be good to have you around, because, you know, I call you and text you sometimes and ask you your opinion on stuff. So
Now, Van's one of the smartest
he one of
motherfuckers
the
I know.
smart
Like, we
motherfuckers I
have just
know.
these random conversations where we'll just bounce something off the wall and go at it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, bro, I'm late. I gotta get my kids or something.
Yeah, like,
we
like,
just start going
you're
and
like,
shit.
hey,
Like,
man, I'm a father and an activist and a coach and all that. I'll hit you later. But nah, what y'all been able to do, and this is another thing. This is why one of the most mystifying things in the world to me is hating. I don't understand hating.
Why?
I really don't get hating. I wish I actually knew a hater so they could explain to me hating. Because I see the show and automatically the show is a hit, right? Automatically the show is a hit. And I'm looking at my guys win, change narratives and dynamics and perspectives. And I'm so filled up with joy for everybody that's winning. I'm trying to figure out, where does the hate come in?
From? Yeah.
Like, where does the hate come from?
Yeah.
You know, people will say like when I say all of the smokers, like, yeah, man, those are my guys. Actually, I was gonna be in this show. Oh, you must really be mad. Mad about what?
Right, yeah, word.
Like, you
what's for you won't miss you.
Damn pathetic idiot. Like, what would you be mad about? So, nah, man, I'm happy. And y'all had an idea. Once again, y'all had an idea. Y'all went out, y'all executed. Y'all knew y'all could do it. And the show is now a staple.
It's a saying, what I want for myself, I want for my brother.
Van, what has it been like, your journey from where you started to, you know, kind of been known as the black guy at TMZ to now where you're at with your production company, Red Pill, and kind of just the way things have evolved? Take us on that journey.
You got tired of seeing on your page, protect Van at all costs.
Protect Van. We gotta make sure Van okay. We gotta make sure Van okay. So here's the thing about TMZ that I don't think a lot of people know. Is I really did not know what TMZ was when I got there. Like, I really didn't know. Like, my girl being there watching the celebrity news and stuff like that, I never cared about it. I never looked down on it, but I never cared about it, right? The thing that I would look at the celebrity news shows, I would be like, hey, they're covering the same 5 to 10 stories on every show. Like, me and her would argue because she would go in there and she would watch E! News, and then she would watch the other one, the 10, and she would watch the whatever, the extra and all of that. I'd be like, yo, they all talking about the same shit. Brad and the new girl went out on a date. How many fucking times you get to hear about it? You know what I mean? It's the same fucking story.
Right.
And so when I actually got to TMZ, I was unemployed, and I had just lost my unemployment because I lost my unemployment on accident because I did a commercial, but I didn't know I was doing a commercial. I did a razor commercial to where these people told me to come out to Van Nuys and use all these products and then use a razor. And then when I was using a razor, dude jumped out and went, you ready for Gillette Pro Glide Fusion Challenge or whatever like that? I'm like, oh shit. And it's a razor
Don't
commercial.
fuck my employment up.
Right. And so after I do that, I get paid for it. And so then I go on the unemployment thing and I put down that I did a commercial, readjusted my unemployment to $75 a week. I'm fucked. Now I gotta get a job. I can't. The government's not gonna pay for me to play pickup basketball anymore. First job is TMZ tour guide.
Tour guide. Okay, that's around the city, right?
Yeah, around the city. So I was 31 and I'm thinking, man, all of these great big dreams I had, and I'm a tour guide at 31. But I did it because I go back and I ask her about it, and she says, yeah, yeah, take it. You should take it. She's like, you're going to be on the television show. But once again, I didn't know what the show was. I thought it was just like E! Or anything else. I didn't understand the controversy. I didn't get the salacious nature of the show or anything like that. Also didn't get the culture problems that existed there until a little while after I was like a television sort of mainstay. I remember I was on TMZ a lot, and I've said this before, and they did a video. There was a video where they were talking about different rappers. And they put up a picture of Wiz Khalifa. And under that, it said Lil Bow Wow. And I remember thinking to myself, all right, people make mistakes. But one of these niggas is 6'5". And the other one of them is 5'9", 5. They look completely different.
No resemblance.
We are the celebrity experts. Like, we're the people that are supposed to know
this shit, right.
the difference. We're the celebrity experts, right? We're the people that are supposed to know. So there's something in there that's either unrepresented or not being represented. So I felt it my responsibility, if I was going to be on a show, to go there and then represent that, right? And it was a handful. It was a job that, to be honest with you, I'll never endeavor to do again. I'm not going to be the black voice of reason for anyone
to ask that.
ever again. Ever.
How heavy was that lift? Because like you said, you not knowing the history. I mean, I'm being in LA so long, you just always heard and seen TMZ. Like, anytime anything anti-black or black issues came up, they looked at you. Every time.
Yeah, but not just them, everybody,
Everybody
right?
did, right.
So the company looks at me.
Right.
And then the viewership looks at me.
And then our community's looking at you.
Right. And then the community's looking at me. So after a while, it becomes a situation to where you almost lobotomize yourself, because even if you do have thoughts on a specific issue, I just refused at any point at TMZ, really, for me to be too critical of anything that would come from the black community, because I didn't feel like I was in a safe space to do that. Like, if we're on like one of our platforms, we can say, okay, he's wilding, or okay, she's wilding, or okay, whatever.
But you had to protect us
Don't
and
matter.
talk about us.
Don't matter. Dude bring an AK-47 to Disneyland. I'm like, you don't know what he's been through. Like, if you grew up where he grew up, you bring an AK-47 to Disneyland too. But man, shouldn't he not have the AK-47 around the kids? Fuck that. You don't understand. Next story. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And really, that's something for black Americans, period. We get pushed into that. We get pushed into it because there's sort of no standard of decency in which we're treated. Everything looks a certain way. So then we feel like, okay, well, fuck it. This is the thing. And so I had so many conversations, man. And in this, I want to shout out Charlamagne and Killer Mike, because
two solid brothers, man. I love them, man.
Two solid brothers, right? I want to shout out Charlamagne and Killer Mike, because when something would go wrong, like, those would be the guys, of course, Kalika, but those would be the guys that I would talk to about it. And Mike would be like, because I'm like, yo, I'm quitting. It's over, I'm done. I'm quitting. Mike would be like, nah, we need you there. And Char just never gets it. Char would be like, quit for what? You really care about what these people on social media think?
That sounds like him.
Like, quit for what? Why you gonna quit?
He don't give a fuck.
He doesn't fucking care at all. Like, why you gonna quit? What you gonna quit? You quit for somebody on Twitter who doesn't know your life?
Right.
You sound bugging. Call me back when you feeling better. You know what I'm saying? But it's a hard situation. And for anybody that's gonna do it now, for anybody anywhere that feels like you gotta be the black voice of reason, hey, I'm not saying that it doesn't have any utility. I'm not saying that it's not useful. We need that. But
be ready.
You're gonna shorten your life.
Oh yeah, no question.
That's a lot of stress. I'm not fucking with that.
I always wondered that, bro.
Yeah.
People talk a lot about that, but like, with you being a voice, like, they don't understand like the stuff that come with it, the death threats and all that type of stuff, because a lot of people don't have the guts to speak out, but a lot of people don't like the fact that you have the guts to speak out.
Very true.
You know what I'm saying? They hate that.
Right.
They hate that because a lot of people are dying inside. They want to say the things you know, they want to be as confident, as bold as you, but then again, damn, he that confident. Well, I can't be that confident. The only thing I can do to reply to that is hate on him. And that's the only response, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that
Jealousy.
way. Everybody got a part to play.
Last thing I'll say about this is this. Marion Barry had died in D.C. and TMZ wrote a headline that people didn't like. And they came at me, right? And at first I got defensive. I felt crazy about that. I'm like, well, I didn't write this headline. Like, I didn't write that. I didn't do that. I'm arguing on the show that the headline was wrong.
Right.
Like, why are y'all coming at me? And then I said, that's actually not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not the way you go about that. You can't do that way. You can't do that with your people. I had a conversation with one of my homies from the Nation, and we were talking about a story that we might want to do or something that we wanted to do. And I'll never forget, he said to me, he said, now listen, we'll do this and and we'll put the truth out. But if it goes left, you will be accountable.
It's on you.
For this. You will be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stand in that room and they write the headline about Mary Berry, that's you.
Mm-hmm.
That's you. You take what comes with that. Either you move on from it or you scab up and you scar up to where it doesn't bother you. But it's not that anything that happened at TMZ, it was TMZ and then Van. You were right in the middle of the room.
Right.
Be as you can be, but remember, as long as you're there, you're fucking there.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hope that there's a better there after you leave.
Right.
What were the positives from that? I mean, like I said, it wasn't all bad. You're not even portraying it as bad at all. But I'm saying, what were some positives, some perks being in that position?
Well, a big positive was being on TV. Being on TV changed your life in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, TMZ did make me rich, but being on TV in LA is just different. Like it's like a little club. LA's so crazy, man. Like you go somewhere and then everybody's here for one thing. So people think that you must be special if you got it.
Right.
They don't know that you came off the tour bus, right? They don't know if they would have gone to entertainmentcareers.net for that one time, then they might have got that job.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how fortunate it is to happen, but they think that you've done something. So it allowed me to meet a lot of people that got me to my next thing. All of these guys in here that I'm cool with, it's not because of TMZ, but me being who I am on that show mattered.
Right.
And also, the Kanye moment was incredibly important because the Kanye moment tethered me to my community in a big, loud way that would have been impossible, right? It was really my audition to be a part of the solution. And a lot of people have those auditions, and a lot of people go and do those things, but they don't normally get that much fanfare. And more than anything, like being at TMZ around those people that were there, that was a group of people that my coworkers that I fell in love with. I love my coworker. Even the guy they accused me of choking was my man. Like my dude. And being around
The hand slip.
I didn't choke the man. I went up to talk, put my hands on him to say, yo, bro, don't talk. And then it went left. But I didn't choke him. I never choked anybody. But like, I really didn't choke him. Like seriously, if you watch the video, I really didn't. I don't know, people always say that.
You sound like Spreewell right now.
Right, yeah.
Did you choke out one of your coworkers? I didn't. But I grew.
Right.
Like I grew. The people in the office, like the entire time I was there, I grew. I wouldn't take it back for anything having worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How exciting has it been building your new show, Higher Learning Pod?
I've loved being at the Ringer.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have the best co-host.
She's dope.
Rachel Lindsay is a fantastic co-host.
Mm-hmm.
We have a unique podcast in that it's like
it's real.
It's real, and it's a male-female perspective. I think that, personally, this is what I think. I think that me and Rachel Lindsay, Higher Learning, are going to be the Regis.
I love it.
And Kathy Lee.
Daytime talk.
We're going to be the Regis and Kathy Lee. A little different, a little bit more in your face, a little smarter, a little sharper. I'm not trying to diss Regis and Kelly and Regis and Kathy Lee.
Not at all.
But the show would be smarter and so maybe a little bit more topical, But that's why I see it. Like the chemistry is great, the show is great. And you know, we're still figuring it out. Y'all know that anytime you say something, it's 1,000 people online that are looking to
Tear it
dissect
apart.
it.
Yeah.
But like shit, I'm gonna be honest with you. Rachel has just like made me more unfiltered. Cause she don't give a fuck.
Yeah, she's solid. I've been on that with y'all. She's
Yeah,
solid. She's solid.
like she don't
She's
like
solid, bro.
she don't give a fuck. And
Yep.
she's out there and also, bro, of
She's
course,
super intelligent.
super intelligent. And sharing the spotlight with Black women. I've done I think 3 podcasts now on The Ringer. One I worked with Jamel Hill. The other one I worked
Shout
with
out
Rachel.
Jamel.
Shout out
Love
Jamel
her.
Hill. I worked with Rachel Lindsay, man. Being with Black women on a podcast and being a part of the moment that they have and the moment that they share and like the things that they think and knowing that you're right there is dope. That makes, you know, I go home, I talk to Kalika about that, I talk to my girl about that. Yo, man, Rachel said this, Jamel said this. You just want people to feel and be seen.
Right.
And I'm getting a chance to do that at The Ringer.
That's dope.
Travon, comedian, actor, writer, some of your credentials, Full Frontal, The Daily Show. When did you kind of feel like, was the Oscar the breakthrough, or had you already you kind of were already on a pace of?
No, I mean, I feel like it started with Daily Show because that was like my first TV job. And it was like, it was one of the biggest
That's a big
shows on
show.
TV at the time. When John
When did you, what years were you there?
I was there 2012 to 2016.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I
Some
was
good years.
Trevor and John. And so, you know, I started right before Obama got reelected, like literally like a week before. And that was my first, like up until then I was just doing stand-up. And then when I got that job, like everything changed in like TV because it was like a big deal. And then now people are like, oh, you can actually like do this. Like it's the same thing I had with the Oscars. Like you do it, and so people are like, oh, you can actually do it.
Right.
And so,
Surprise.
right.
Yeah, I can.
And then it's like also like I was the only Black writer on the show, like similar to that, like same experience where like you're dealing with a news show, a topical show, and any type of shit happens, and it's like all the eyes turn to you, like, well, how do you feel about Trayvon Martin? How do you feel about blah blah blah, like that kind of thing, and it's super fucking awkward. But that was the beginning of my TV career. Like I started at the highest level in terms of like late night because the show had to that point had won 10 Emmys in a row. So now everybody's looking at you like, oh, so you just gonna get it, like this is gonna happen. And funny enough, my first year was their first year losing after 10 years. And it was like,
we had Black people, goddamn it, I told you we shouldn't have hired this motherfucker, man.
As soon as we did it.
Put a nigga named Trayvon on
the I told you we shouldn't have hired this motherfucker, man.
But we got it back 2 years later. So, but yeah, that was the beginning. And then after that, you could pretty much go anywhere. Like people would be trying to poach you all the time. And then once I had, you know, John announced he was leaving, and me and Trevor were boys, and I was like the only person he really knew. I was the only friend he like kind of had at the show because we would just hang out in my office. It was like, he's Black, I'm Black. We naturally just kind of like fall into that same thing when you're like the only two people anywhere. And so once he got the job, like I had gotten like a couple offers to go places, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay with you and like build this new show kind of thing. And then once I kind of felt like I had run my course there and I'd been doing it long enough, came back to LA and got really into the scripted TV game. And so I did like Camping on HBO, Black Monday with Don Cheadle on Showtime.
Shout out Showtime.
Shout out Showtime. Everybody at Showtime is great. I love the Showtime people, man. And then it was just like TV show after TV show. The Lakers did the Lakers drama on HBO in 2019. And then once 2020 came, it was just like, niggas were just sitting around, like the show. Everybody had either finished the writer's room, everything had been like shut down. So that's when the movie came. It was like I came up with the idea for the movie I sold to Apple with Idris Elba, and like the very, very beginning of the pandemic. And me and Simon Kinberg sold that. While that was like happening, Two Distant Strangers was kind of happening in between it all. And we sold that movie last August. And then it was weird because like you were watching the world kind of collapse around you. And then like, but professionally, like my life was just like, it just started doing this. And it was such a like strange thing to kind of like
balance
live
out.
with.
No, we
Yeah.
had it, not to cut you off, but similar shit. Like we found our groove during the pandemic and came out a lot better than we went in. But it's like, damn, I'm doing well. But you see with the world, everything around, like you said, everything around you is crumbling.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, I'm super blessed to be like in this position and like doing all this stuff. But it's like, it's just crazy that when like everybody's world collapsed and is collapsing around you, and people are like frontline workers and like Uber drivers and all these people are like having to deal with all these issues, and you're like, man, so are they gonna buy my movie? Or like like the problems are just so different.
Right.
And you're trying to like not like feel like an asshole. But it's like, then you're just like, but this is just what I do.
That's your blessing.
It's just, it's just been what my life has been, this business. And I'm just fortunate that that's what it is. And so once all that started happening, like it just got us to here, man. Like it was.
How do you feel like your experience in your journey prepared you for Two Distant Strangers?
You know, it was being at Daily Show as my first job was like you were talking about, Stak, like stuff just sets you up to be prepared for everything you're supposed to get. And that show is so fast paced. You have so much responsibility and you have so little time to get it done. Like that show is 4 nights a week, it's live to tape. We start at 9 a.m. You have an hour to write your script. You have 20 minutes to rewrite your script after you get your notes back. You got rehearsal at 4 o'clock. You got rewrite at 5 o'clock. The show is on at 6. That's every single day. And you have a building full of people who are just like scrambling all day, making that show happen. And it's a testament to why it was so good, because it was like everybody knew their job. Everybody was good at their job and they just did it. And you wanted to like work hard for somebody like John because he was so good and such a great leader. And so having that experience for 4 years, I always say it felt like comedy and like TV college. Like it was like I got my 4-year degree in how to run a TV show, how to run a production, how to lead a group of people in this particular like setting, if it like came to that. And so once I left, everything else felt slow.
Yeah.
It was like,
prepared you for anything.
Like, yeah, I'm like, why we just sitting here? It's like, because it's nothing. Like, I'm used to like go. And so when stuff does happen, when you're doing something and there is something to be done, you just are ready for it. Like firefighters. Like
that's kind of testament to the movie though. The same thing you saying, how the show was real fast paced. Look at all of the ad-libbing and all the stuff y'all had to do to get the show done.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
All kind of stuff was coming, but experience is the best teacher, bro. And that's basically what you're saying. I've been through it already, so anything that come now, I know how to deal with it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. It was like all those moments, you just didn't feel like they couldn't be done. They couldn't be fixed or couldn't be conquered. And it was all because like working on 2 of the best late night TV shows in TV, you just had to do it and you had to learn it. And
how many people had that resume though?
Killer.
That's what when he's saying all of that shit. God damn, this nigga done done a lot of work.
That's a resume, bro.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have known that if we went on the show. You
but
know
like you said, I mean, he's been doing great work for so long, but now he's getting the recognition because of that. Oscar. You've been killing it, huh? Like, yeah, you know, you might just know me now because of this, but I've been doing my thing, so obviously that's dope.
Pay my dues.
But you were a hooper too.
Yeah,
you went
man.
to Dominguez Hills. Where were you there? 98 to...
I was at Dominguez.
You start rubbing too. You said they start rubbing on the knees.
Yeah, man.
He's over.
I was at Dominguez from 99 to 2003. So Tyson Chandler,
so you got Tyson there.
Samir, Tayshaun had just left.
So yeah, I'm 98. So you missed Jason Thomas, Tayshaun, all them.
Yeah, just missed him.
Yeah.
And then
Jason Thomas was a fucking monster.
2 sports.
Bro. Man, he scared me to death. A quick story in the 8th grade. We played him, and he had to play it on a team called PTI, and this nigga was windmilling, slapping the glass so hard that it shook. In 8th grade, I remember I went home, and I wrote in my diary in school, I was like, I just seen Jason Thomas this weekend. There's no way I'm going to the NBA.
And probably the next week, he probably went through 10 touchdowns and ran 5.
Super athlete. He was like a man in like junior high.
In the country too.
He was the
unreal, man.
But yeah, talk to us. So Dominguez.
Yeah. That was crazy because like my freshman year, I think like Samir, that was your sophomore year, right? We won the national championship that year. And it was like
crazy.
It was like
wait a minute, bro.
We
all play high school basketball.
That was Tyson senior.
That's like stupid to win a national championship in high school.
Yeah,
it was like
it was like Tyson's junior year, and the team was just like crazy. Like it was crazy being 15 and going to play basketball in an arena. and like
Sold
people
out.
lined up to like get your autograph.
I
And
love
you're
it,
like,
yeah.
bro, we the same age. Like this is
Yep.
so crazy.
Yep.
And
This is pre-social media though too, so it's just
Yeah.
like they get to see you in person. It's different.
It was. I mean, we were like, we're touring the country. Like we're playing Eddie Curry over
Yeah, you guys are rock
here, and
stars.
like DeJuan Wagner, and like all
shout out
these
Wani.
like Cisse and who am I forgetting? Samir. Just like so many like the biggest names of that like that era of high
Did you
school
say
basketball.
Ansu Sensei?
Yeah,
He was
like
live. He from my area.
He's nice. I
He
played
from
with
Houston.
him. I played with him in the D League, the G League back then. That's what it's
shout out
called.
Sue.
it was.
Lefty.
And this was high school, like, and you playing like future NBA all like everywhere you go, the team is like a nationally ranked like crazy team, and so that was just like it seemed like everywhere I was going, I was being thrown into like the highest version. Like if you
Fish
gonna learn,
grease.
yeah,
Fish
you're like
grease.
you
You
gonna
gonna fry,
learn
baby.
real fast. Like
Right.
everywhere you go, you're gonna have to learn real fast.
Right.
And it's been that same way like every time. And then so like after, I graduated in 2003 and I went to Long Beach State. We went to the tournament. I think my senior year was like the year we went to the tournament. 12-5 game. Got beat up by Tennessee.
I watched it. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Them niggas
Like
wasn't missing though.
we were. See, that's what it was.
Vince
That's what it
like
was.
them Tennessee was.
Yeah, Vince Yarborough, was he already gone to Tennessee? He might have already been gone.
I think he was.
he
Yeah,
was
because
my draft.
the thing was, it wasn't like we played bad. They played amazing. Like we led the nation in scoring that year. We averaged 89 points a game that season, and they came out shooting like
yakking
60-70% from three, just like was not missing. And like we were making shots, but we were like making layups and like doing it. And they're like 3-pointer, whatever we do, 3-pointer. And I was like, oh, y'all just like hot. Like there's nothing we could do about this. Like
It's like that.
we not turning the
sometimes.
ball over. We not like messing up our plays. It's just like y'all are just balling, and there ain't nothing we could do about it.
Right.
And so it was fun, man. Like to play in the tournament, like if you get a chance, like it's amazing. And so I was happy that like at every stage I got to like experience at least the thing or wherever the high point of that thing was. So when I graduated, I was happy. I had knee surgery. That's why,
I saw you rubbing that knee.
that
You
my
had meniscus surgery?
Yeah, my sophomore year it blew out in practice. And so I only played 3 of my 4 years because after I did the rehab year, it was so hard, man. And I just didn't want to do it
Did they
anymore.
take it out, repair
Yeah,
it?
it took it out.
All of it?
Yeah, all laterals
All of
like
it?
all gone. Yeah.
Damn, they had to take 40%. I tore my meniscus with the Lakers, and I was out like 7 weeks. They took 40% out. So every once in a while, I have to do this.
He
But outside that, I was
told me
straight.
they were going to like what they thought they were going to do and what they ended up being able
couldn't do
yeah, because like he showed me the picture afterwards and there ain't like nothing in there.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it was
hard.
like
You have arthritis and shit. Because it's hard to get blood flow in that area to kind
Yeah.
of rebuild everything. Yeah. Hooper stories. Well, just the events around race, racism, social justice. How has that impacted you in the last couple of years? And do you see light starting to come out at the end of the tunnel?
The term social justice, like for me, we just trying to live.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I guess there's a very strategic way you have to go about getting what you want in America, but when you're black, you're initiated. You don't have to decide to get a cause and go, this is like about surviving, or as I call it, thriving. You want to be alive and you want to be well, So the answer to the question, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? No, there's not. There's no light. I'm hopeful that we figure things out, but I just hope people understand that, like, we talk about so many different things that, talk to people and people go, hey, I'm gonna get a lot of money and I'm gonna give back to your community. That's dope. That's amazing. Everybody should do that. Everybody should seek to. We live in a capitalist society. Everybody should seek to get a lot of money and create a lot of jobs and do all of that stuff. I just hope people know that that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is intentional systemic dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Intentional systemic dysfunction. I want you to look all over the world at places that had systems that were intentionally unequal, right? If you look at apartheid in South Africa, in order for South Africa to turn. Apartheid has to go, right? It has to go. Obviously, that's different than what we're talking about here, but we're talking about participation and cooperation in the guts of America, in the guts of it, in the guts of what this country is. And it's a participation that as Black people, we've always had. Like, it's interesting. There's a whiteness is a God complex, right? Like, whiteness as it exists is the belief that this was all created by one omnipotent force. And you're lucky to worship that force. That's what white supremacy is. You're lucky to be here. We took you out of Africa, right? Where you were running around with a fucking bone in your nose. You couldn't read. You had no culture. You had no nothing. We came you over and we taught you how to use a salad fork. And what you should do is in perpetuity, you and your progeny, you should worship that. Right? That's bullshit.
Total.
That's bullshit. Number one, what we were and what we are on that continent is completely different than what you said. On culture, on family, on laws, on hierarchies, royalty, riches, wealth, doctors, scientists, all of that stuff.
It's all a lie.
People figuring out the way the world works over there. So that's bullshit. And then over when you talk about us coming over here, you didn't do anything alone. Like Franklin said, brick by brick, the labor that built the country is on the sweat of my ancestors. The only thing that we've ever been given license to do in America is be exploited. So systems built on that, how do you fix them? Well, you can try to fix them by participation in those systems, and some of us will win that way. But the better way to fix them is to reprogram the systems themselves, and that's hard. Because that means that somebody has to do what nobody wants to do in America, is lose. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're cool with us losing because they put us in a position to lose for a very long time.
From the jump.
So the question then is, all right, what I'm asking you is, I'm asking you not to grease the wheels for everybody around you to get an advantage. I'm asking corporations to pay the appropriate tax rate, right? I'm asking for real participatory action into America, what you say you want. And once that happens, we'll get together and we'll work in our communities and we'll fix them. But the piece of the pie, it has to be divvied out equally or with some sort of equity. Now, anytime you start talking about that, anytime you start examining, or when you say you want an accounting of America, you want to open up the books, you want to know exactly what you're entitled to as an American citizen. And I use the word entitled because these are promises that have been made. Promises. So you're not asking for nothing you're not fucking entitled to.
Right.
People talking about people complaining. Well, complaining about freedom in America would be like your lungs complaining about air.
Right. It's that simple.
Like, your lungs are entitled to air. Their function is air. As an American citizen, your function is freedom.
Right.
They say no, and they have all kinds of reasons that they don't do it. We don't have environmental freedom. We don't have social freedom. We don't have freedom of movement. We don't have any of that. So we need to overhaul, and we need serious people to do it. And it's not philanthropy. It's not posting black squares on your gram. It's not none of that. It's dirty, hard, rigorous work by a lot of people who are looking in a lot of fucking mirrors. And so my hope is that this is a beginning because of the information. Like, even the people in the past, right, that they would have us look at, right, and give us examples of their lives. They always give us examples of people that they shot up, lives that were ended. We don't think about the fact that Malcolm X and Dr. King were just men with families. Forget about being these great social people and people that changed America. They were guys with families. Mothers lost husband.
That depended on them.
Kids lost dads. No more daddy. Government killed daddy. And then we look at that and we go, okay, they lived great lives. They sacrificed for what? They didn't sacrifice shit. They were murdered. Like Nancy Pelosi said, George Floyd, I know that's somebody close to you, Stak, sacrifice his life or whatever.
He was murdered.
George Floyd didn't choose to die.
He didn't, right, at all.
So stop acting like there's something virtuous in Black death.
Right.
So what I'm saying is all of these things have to change. Like all of these ideas have got to change. And in order to change them, we got to face them. And so I'm hopeful that we can start to face them. And I think that there's so much information in there. So, and by the way, the last thing I want to say about this, because I know I'm droning on. Stop looking across the other side of things and picking apart what it is your brother or your sister is doing.
Do your part.
Do your part. Like, stop arguing whether or not No Name is right or whether or not Killer Mike is right.
Right.
Like, do your part. Jump in there, right? If you are a Black capitalist, tell me how we gonna win. If you are a socialist or a Marxist, tell me how we gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Get the information out to the people and let them decide what's the best way to fix America.
Mm-hmm.
But stop, we have to, look, I do it too sometimes. I went on a whole rant about Van Jones. A whole rant on my podcast about Van Jones. You know what I did? After, I know how you feel, but you know what I did after? I picked up the phone, I called Van Jones, I apologized to him. And the reason why I apologized to him is because I don't agree with a lot of the ways that Van Jones moves.
You not though.
Like I don't agree with a lot of the ways that Van Jones.
That's not real. If you're gonna agree with everything somebody say, that's not real.
But the reality is there are people who are incarcerated, who are home with their families because of the work that he has been doing. I'm not gonna hang out with Trump and them. I'm not going up there to sign no bills. I'm not doing anything. Well, I might go up there to sign a bill, but I'm not doing all of that. But that's his thing. Doesn't matter what I think of it. Can't stand in the way of progress. So whatever conversations, whatever we have, let's talk about them to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. And I'm hopeful that those things can start.
Yeah. I try to simplify it for a lot of people, man. Just imagine you starting a business and you hire 30 employees. The 30 employees build your business to $1 billion business, but then you treat them like shit.
Yeah.
They're gonna eventually turn on you. And that's this world. That's the United States.
Then you tell them they had nothing to do with it.
Exactly. So this is what we're going through right now. You can't continue to expect the people that built this place to live the right way or to overlook what's been done to them and continue to treat them like shit and they not rebel on you. You know what I'm saying? And we waking up now. It's not just us, Van. Like I said, what happened to Georgie put me in this position. And I don't even consider myself an activist. I'm going out and just doing right by the community. Yeah. I don't even want to be put in that position because I'm not that, because I know people that go by their title.
And I'm not an activist either.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They go by their title, they've done great work. So I don't even want to diminish their work and put myself as an activist. But at the same time, we all have a part to play. And if you out there doing your part, you don't have time to worry about what somebody else is not doing, if they're doing it right or not.
Word.
We all have a part to play. We all have the same goal. Right. And that's to get treated like human beings and not like animals. And when people think like that, Van, it's easier for us to get there, but everybody is always worried about what somebody else is doing. And then again, I'm gonna finish on this. Everybody has their religion, who they pray to. When you get ready to go and you go into your judgment day, you're not getting judged about what somebody else did. Word. It's about what you did on this earth and the good you did. Yeah. So worry about what you do, live righteous, and I think we'll get there. You know what I'm saying? But we have to worry about what we can do ourselves and not what somebody else is doing.
But I think also too, I mean, any change we fight for now, however part, whatever role we play, we probably won't really see it.
You always say that, and that's right.
We have to understand, like, what we're doing now is our kids are going to see it. My sons are going to see it. If you guys have children soon, your kids are going to see it. So it's also fighting something for, you really may never get a piece of. Right. Or really never get to benefit from. And are you okay with that? But I think obviously once you become, even if you don't have children, but I know like once I became a father, like that outlook changed, like, damn, I'm doing all this, I'm not going to feel it. But now, no, I'm doing all this now because my kids are going to feel it and their kids are going to feel it. And the next generation needs to see it. So I just feel encouraged from a standpoint of, for 400 plus years, it's been one way. And I think for the first time, unfortunately, through George Floyd being killed, they're listening. That some of them may have pretended they're listening, but enough people are listening now. So what is our strategic plan moving forward? Like, we can't continue to fight, kill, and do all this shit and think we're going to overtake it.
Right.
We got to overtake it with our mind, and our unity. And I see some of that. Obviously, we take a couple steps forward and then take a few steps back. But I think overall, we're starting to understand, like, together, we're not the minority because of the skin color. They try to call us the minority to keep us in our place, but we're actually the majority.
Right. And look, and the only thing I want, it's so simple. It's like people come to me like, what do you want? Right. And we're all successful guys. We're sitting up here and we're talking about what's wrong with the country. A lot of people look at that and they go, hey, look, you got millions of dollars up here.
Oh
with
yeah, y'all straight.
$1,000 over here in Van. And they say like, you know, this is what I want. You know what I want? Safe Black people.
Mm-hmm.
If I just want safe. Safe means environmentally safe. Safe means economically safe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, like, it's like we talked about stress and trauma. I just think about like one time my dad, just real quick. One time my dad like saw my well, my Uncle Mark passed away. He was on drugs for, you know, most of his life and he had gone to the pen and stuff like that. I'm sitting in the truck with my dad and my dad hangs up the phone. He goes, man, Mark back on that shit. And he gives himself a split second to be sad about the fact that his brother was back on drugs. A split second. And he looks at me and he goes, nigga, if I ever catch you fucking with drugs, I'll never forget. He cut the car off. I hadn't done nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cut the car off. If I ever catch you fucking with drugs, I will kill you myself. He looks at me like, look at me. Don't you bring that shit in my house. Don't you fuck with nobody that's fucking with that. Then I'll hurt you. He's scared. He's scared.
Right.
He lives in a community where his son has to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
He's upset. He's scared. He saw what happened to his brother. Doesn't want to happen to me.
Right.
Now he's got to put fear in me.
Mm-hmm.
We're not safe. We don't feel safe. And we need to build more apparatuses in America where we feel safe so we can live out our lives. That's all I'm saying. Just safe Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on you being a former athlete, obviously, athletes' role in continuing to amplify these messages that our community are coming up with, the activists are coming up with, and how important that is. Jack and I had a disagreement when the NBA was going into the bubble. He thought, and we really completely opposite, different sides how we thought, but we talked and understood the pros and cons of both sides. But he thought that people shouldn't play. We should continue to march, fight, bring awareness to this. I flipped it thinking like if we do play, our voices are going to be amplified with that NBA logo behind us. Like you'll be able to hear LeBron or hear CP, but you won't be able to hear our whole message. Our whole message travels around the world when that logo is behind it. So we went back and forth with, whether guys should play or not, but they played. I thought they put the message out. How important do you think not only basketball, but athletes and other entertainers, how important it is for them to continue to push the needle and make people uncomfortable?
I think it's one of the things I think is so important because athletes are some of the most famous people on the planet. And like sports is one of those things where people leave their party lines at the door. When you show up to the arena, you're a Lakers fan.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a Republican Lakers fan or a Democratic Lakers fan. You're
Straight
a Lakers fan, and that's the Bulls, and fuck the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers better win this game.
Right.
And so when you're cheering on and supporting these athletes across any sport, I think from my experience, there's a fear of not having the knowledge or the ability to speak like the people you see on TV when you talk about an issue, to be able to support it or to voice how you feel.
Be heard, right?
To be heard. And I think that causes a lot of athletes to just say nothing or to just kind of hide in the shadows and like let LeBron and let Chris and let Megan Rapinoe and let all like
because it's hot too. When you step out there, they're gonna listen to every word and look how to tear it down. So when you do take that leap of faith, it's scary.
It is, and I totally get because you're like, I got a brand, I got millions of dollars to protect my family. It totally makes sense. What I think we can get to is a place where it's a more cohesive voice, where you don't have to feel isolated in. I got to know all the ins and outs of the George Floyd Act to be able to talk about why I support elements of it or why I support this or why I support that.
Or just have friends like Van.
and just like let them do it for you. But I think it's like you're saying, so many millions of people are listening and paying attention. Just seeing Black Lives Matter on the court every game is making you face it. If you're a fan who's been trying to avoid it, you can't. There it is, and you have to be confronted with it. And if more and more athletes, if more and more organizations would support the athletes in using their voice to talk about the things that are plaguing their community, because you have an NBA that's like 80% Black, you have the NFL that's like 70 something percent Black. How can you as an organization look at the fact that your entire business is built on their backs, on their ability to perform, and you ignore the things that they take home every day?
Because they think they're doing you a favor by allowing you to play on their
Exactly.
team. They don't understand that you worked hard your whole life. It's the gift from God that you have.
Exactly.
They didn't do nothing. They're giving you opportunity,
Right.
but you taking advantage of it. So that's how they think, though. They think they're giving you something that you didn't work for.
Well, I think that's what we need more empathy and understanding, in my point of view, because you can't expect middle class, upper class white man to ever understand our struggle, because he'll never have to go through. So what we're asking you is to kind of step outside of your life and not even walk a mile in our shoes. Just see if them motherfuckers fit, and kind of have an understanding of our day-to-day battles.
But why would they do that? You got Black people that see people struggling in their own neighborhood, and they get out and make it, and don't even think to go. They in that position with these people. You know what I'm saying? So how can you expect another race to care about our issues when we don't even care about our own people?
So both of y'all are right, in my opinion, and I know that's a very, you're not supposed to say it on the podcast. You should be like, fuck that shit. No, but both of y'all are right. So either way works, but it just you have to be committed to it. Now, what you just said is very, very, very key. It's like what you said is people sometimes make out of the projects or whatever, and they don't give back and stuff like that. It's actually not even in our nature.
Right.
Like that's learned. Like we're cooperative, right? But if you so we have to make a decision as a community whether or not we're actually a community or we're just a bunch of people that survive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we have to make a decision about whether or not we're a community or we just like a bunch of people that survive some shit. Because right now, if we all like on a plane, right? We on a plane, we cruising to our altitude, right? We're going to like, I don't know, Cancun, whatever. We're going someplace. Like we're all gonna, you go, hey bro, look at this movie. I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna watch the movie. You go, hey man, I can't wait till we get there. When we get there, we're gonna be like, we're gonna coordinate. We're all gonna work together. If the plane goes down, me, Travon, and Matt are gonna be like, let's eat Jack.
That's the vibe.
If the plane goes down, we're gonna start looking around and being like, okay, who can we eat?
Jack can't swim, so
right. So because now our primary focus is surviving something. So it's like, fuck it, I gotta stay warm, I gotta stay fed. And not everybody can do it.
Right.
Not everybody can stay warm and stay fed. Everybody can't. So then we start looking for the weak person who can't, and then we get them out of there.
Yeah.
And we take what it is that they got. And that's just not community. That's not what a community is.
Right.
The community is seeing somebody who may be struggling or who may need a look and helping them because of a belief inherently and a taught belief that they're gonna add something when they get to where you are.
Right.
So in terms of your point, that's what we have to decide, whether or not we're a community or whether or not we just a bunch of people that survive some shit. Because survivor's gonna go their own way. Now, as far as what you guys were talking about in the bubble, I really didn't, like for me, it's like Kyrie Irving is my favorite basketball player on the planet, right? He's my favorite basketball player because I think he's doing something invaluable. He's giving context and perspective to this. He is playing basketball, and basketball has provided him
a great life.
A great life and a platform. Is NBA basketball as important as what's going on in the Middle East now? It's just not. You have to be a moron to think that when kids are dying, right? So when you put a mic in his face and he goes, hey, yeah, basketball is cool, but I want to talk about what's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We got to have that.
Yeah.
And the rub is that we can't have that if they're not playing. You know what I mean? But then if they don't play, that would be a huge, huge, huge big thing too, because that'd be fucking on people's pockets so bad.
Right.
So I think both people are right, but I think one thing that we have to do, to Trayvon's point, is we just have to know what we're saying. I see so many people, and I see Stephen A. Smith, and I love Stephen A. Smith. I see Stephen A. Smith being critical of Kyrie and being critical of like what he's doing and how he's comporting himself. I think that balance is needed. I think that, to be honest with you, if athletes would have been like this in the 90s or in the 80s, we might be better off right now. And I'm not coming at those guys. I'm just saying, yeah, it's shit going on. I know the dude can put the ball in the hole, but what else you got for us? I personally like making white people uncomfortable. I think they think better and on their feet. I think we're doing a disservice to white people by keeping them comfortable because they're not going to do it right. And now we're going to have to come at them. The best thing we can do for white America is continuously make them uncomfortable. And then we'll all get to a place where maybe we could all be a little bit more comfortable.
I mean, it's crazy you brought up Kyrie because I was someone who was opinionated on his thing because it didn't seem like when he first came with the idea that he had a plan. To me, I wanted to have a plan. This is another thing he and I went at.
Yeah, me and Kyrie talk every day.
And it was something because it's just like, you know, you have that platform. Like, what's your okay? You're not going to play. What's the plan? Not playing is not solving anything. Like you said, you're making people mad because games are, but like, what's your plan? And then once I kind of figured out what his plan or hearing what his plan and seeing that he really had a plan, I had to take a step back and admit I was wrong because like, to me, I think, like I said, our strength is our platform. Our strength is our voice. Our strength is our ability to connect dots. Our strength is our ability to get our voice around the world. So, okay, if you're just going to sit out, you're wasting all but he was doing more than just
But let me ask you this. What if he didn't have a plan? What if he just said it? A black man got shot today. I don't feel like shooting the basketball.
I would understand that, but to me, it's not like that's your individual choice.
Okay,
and that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? But to criticize other people that want to move forward and go ahead and play,
I got you.
I'm not with. But if you do, like I said, find out that he did have a plan. Like I had to take a step back and admit I was wrong and have extended a hand and sitting down and having a conversation. But I completely agree. Like the way he handles stuff now, and to me. I mean, we're transitioning into the basketball conversation part of the interview right now. I think Kyrie is the best player right now he's ever been because he's so clear on who he is as a player on and off the court.
Super confident.
Like he's so at peace with who he is on and off the court, and not a motherfucker can't disturb that. And then usually when you're at peace, that's when you're at your best in everything. You're putting your foot, you're putting your foot first too. So I love what he's doing. I definitely love that.
Look at the season he had though.
50, 40, 90.
The sixth player.
Seventh player
in history.
Yeah, so it's
after fasting a month.
I don't understand his game.
It's incredible.
He just got so much in his bag. You don't know what he's gonna pull out.
It's not even but it's not a bag. I think it's disrespectful to call what Kyrie Irving has a bag. He got like them little infinity symbols.
Forever, whatever he wants.
Yeah. So my man Irv Rowland, right? My man Irv Rowland, he works with Kyrie, and he told me one time, because like I'm trying to get my game back right for the adult men's leagues.
This nigga starts rubbing his knees when he's talking about
I got buckets.
Just because you rub your knees don't mean
cut him off.
He
went through not too long ago, if y'all don't know, he went back to some old footage. He was a little heavier, and he showed himself dunking. That was a while back, man. I don't know if you're going to get back to that.
But see, here's the thing, though. It's not about dunking anymore.
Okay, all right.
There's been a player in the NBA that has set me free.
Oh,
Luca?
Jokic.
Oh, yeah.
I can do that, bro. bro, I'm telling you, bro. I can do that. Bro, that, like...
But you're only 6'2". He's 7 feet.
But I'm in the men's league, though.
So you're Jokic
in the men's league, I'm Jokic.
Okay.
All right, you know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying, like, I look at Jokic and I'm like, sometimes, bro, Jokic is crazy, bro. Like, this nigga is not fast.
Athletic
and I'm looking at Jokic, I'm like, yo, I can do that. And I hear Irv and be like, bro, I just send him Jokic clips and stuff like this. He'd be like, Van, stop. I'm actually working with a real NBA player. I'm like, this I can do. But he told me, he said, Kyrie, and it's something that I even can't, because people think they know about basketball, but they really don't know anything about basketball, a lot of people. It's like Kyrie really just, he's not even setting you up. He's just really reacting to whatever it is you do.
The whole game.
Whatever it is you do, he's going at full speed, just reacting. And it don't even look right. I can't think of anybody that's been that, maybe Steph has been that skilled. Steph is pretty, like, I can't think of anybody that skilled.
With him and Jokic, one thing with them, their basketball IQ is through the roof.
So is mine. Y'all hating, bro. Like ask Term. And like ask.
Here we go again.
Ask Term.
Ask Term.
Ask Term.
Hey, this Term name is the most dropped on this show
we have BD
ever.
on, and
Ask
Term.
Term know I can play.
We brought Term on. Term got some love.
Oh,
Term
here we
is the
go with
most
Term
mentioned
again.
person, not a celebrity.
Yeah,
that
ever
has
on
been
the
mentioned
show.
on the show. Thoughts on the playoffs? Laker fans, Nets fans, who you guys have? What are you interested in this season's playoffs?
Man, it's hard not to ride for my team. I just want the Lakers to play well.
Thoughts on your team? Then you on their chance.
Battling
injury, coming into playoffs.
I'm not getting my hopes up, man. As it's been bad.
Just know you got
bad.
2 players that hurt. Tsunami, hurricane, anything can happen. They still got a chance.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things where like you can't count out Bron. Like it's hard to ever count him out. I mean, I've we've all watched him play for the last like 10 years like a monster and just defy so many odds and come back from 3-1 and do all the things that like you can't count him out. But I mean, Father Time, man, you can't.
He's coming.
I mean, I don't got to tell y'all. Like, when you play that
real.
high level long enough, eventually your body's like enough.
He's been in his prime his whole career, which is insane.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm hoping we not witnessing that, like him, like start to creep over that thing just yet. But we all know it's coming.
Holly Jalen's wife said he's setting it up. I'm hurt. I beat Steph. And he's setting up the whole.
He's rope-a-doping us.
You know, Bron's smart.
He's rope-a-doping us.
He's setting it
I
up.
thought about that too. I was like, I wonder if he just like,
it up, bro.
I wouldn't doubt it.
He playing the injury game and then he gonna come back and just
beat
like
Steph,
look what I
win the
did.
championship.
Well, you saw
Man,
the game he played the other day.
be?
He was catching lobs and doing his old shit he was doing when he was 19. So Bron is very strategic. Yeah, he gonna be straight.
Yeah.
What about you, Van? Who you riding with, and what are you looking forward to in these playoffs?
I think the Lakers are fine. I don't think going on the road to win is going to be as big a deal this time because the arenas aren't full.
Right.
So I think the Lakers are fine. I think it's really the Lakers aren't so much the question. I think the question for me is what really do these other teams have? Is Phoenix legit? Is Utah legit? Are the Clippers legit? Like, are these teams when push comes to shove, are they really ready to make deep playoff runs?
You got to realize when there's teams right now, they're looking at a wounded Lakers. And they got blood dripping right here.
They can't wait.
Yeah.
They can't wait to get them.
Yeah, I'm with it. I do think though, to have the Lakers as an 8 or a 7 is
scary,
just
and they would be favored.
It's entertaining though. It's so entertaining.
And if they would be favored, that'd be crazy. And imagine them coming from a 7 or 8 seed. To me, in the Western Conference, and CP's my guy. They're the 2 seed, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a 1-8 or a 2-7 upset in the playoffs this year. I don't think the top, from a conspiracy standpoint, can really handle, the meat of the pack has been there. The top of the pack hasn't really been there. So I wouldn't be surprised. In the Eastern Conference, who you guys like over there?
The Wizards have been interesting. Like, they I think they finished the season like pretty strong. Well, I mean, the Sixers,
Nets.
The Nets, man. The Sixers and the Nets.
Milwaukee. See, to me, Milwaukee is the sleeper to me in the Eastern because they've flown under the radar. They've always been the 1 seed with, not always, last couple of years and haven't achieved that. But now they've been under the radar, working on different lineups. Giannis is the monster. Giannis can be that regular season guy in the playoffs.
Holiday.
And at the end of the season, they've been back there twice.
So this is the thing for me. Like in the East, obviously, if Brooklyn is healthy, Brooklyn is the favorite in the East, right? But the East has some really interesting wild cards. Like, for example, Miami has the experience, right? Miami has the experience. Miami has guys who have been there. They just made a run. Yo, the Bucks have a kind of weird, favorable matchup with the Nets. The Bucks can defend with the Nets.
And outscore them.
And outscore them. So the Bucks, they don't have, it's not a favorable matchup, but it's a weirdly good matchup for them. Holiday can be effective in slowing down Kyrie. You can use Giannis a little bit on Durant. I'm not saying anybody's going to stop those guys, but it looks like on its face that they maybe be able to compete with them, in a series. For me, the interesting thing is how good is Joel Embiid? Like, how good is Joel Embiid?
I think he's a motherfucker.
I know he is a motherfucker, but like, is he is Joel Embiid right now Shaq in 95 or is he Shaq in 2001? You know what I mean? Is he ready to take over? Shaq has always been a dominant force.
Right.
But at one point, it was a fucking joke.
Early 2000s?
Yeah.
It was a joke.
Right.
Is Joel Embiid ready to take completely over? Because if he is really ready to be that guy, if he's that guy
they got
now,
a great chance.
then like then they're dangerous too. It's just hard to pick against Brooklyn.
Yeah, because
he
is unstoppable.
Whoa, we haven't even mentioned my favorite team in the whole league now. My favorite team in the whole league. To me, the guy who is the league MVP. I love watching the Knicks play.
Man, stop.
Julius Randle is the.
Oh no, he balling. He balling, but MVP and favorite team to watch. You tripping?
I love watching the Knicks.
Oh, I understand. Where you originally from?
I'm from Louisiana, Baton Rouge.
And how you get to being a Laker fan?
Because we lived out here for a couple of years, like a year and a half. I remember my dad had this contract, and the guy they couldn't let my dad.
I had to ask you that.
They couldn't, like, seriously. My dad was a cement finisher out here, and he had this contract with this guy, and the guy was like, "Look, I can't meet that number, but my brother just gave me some Laker tickets." and my dad was like, "Hey, you want to go see the Laker game?
Today,
you want to go see the Laker game?" And we go see the Laker game. I'm looking around this bitch. I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, is that Arsenio Hall? And my dad's like, yeah, famous people come to these games. I'm like, yo, this shit is a fucking amazing. Why would you be? And we didn't have a team. So I've been on the Lakers. Man, I don't fuck that. People always do that to me. I suffered with the Lakers through the Sedell 3 era. I suffered through the Lakers. I was the Robert Sacre era when we like had like fucking, you know, D'Angelo Russell was on.
The sink was shipping. The ship was sinking.
Yeah, I was like, shout out to D'Angelo Russell. I'm not done. But you know, that whole, like, I was with them. So yeah, I'm a Laker fan. But the Knicks, bro, I love watching D Rose do his thing, bro. I love watching Julius Randle. I love watching these guys, and they play so inspiring.
Don't expect much.
You don't expect much from the Knicks in the playoffs?
I don't expect them to come out the East.
Well, they're not gonna come out the East.
It might be entertaining to watch them play a couple games, but you know, let's slow down now. Shout out to Coach Tibbs though.
Yeah,
shout out to Tibbs.
Great turnaround. Quick hitters, man. First thing to come to mind, and you guys are collabing on some of these answers. So together, your top 5 artists.
Music?
Yeah, music.
Oh shit. Just in any genre?
Yeah.
Rihanna, Hove, Drake, Fredo Bang.
Okay.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Look at it. By time, go home.
Fredo Bang.
Thank you for
Baton
going
Rouge,
home.
Louisiana. And Tame Impala.
Who?
Tame Impala. Y'all listen to Tame Impala?
I'm not familiar.
I'm not familiar. I listen to
listen to some Tame Impala in your life, bro.
Who you got? Who you got?
I'm gonna go Kendrick, Cole, Drake, Frank, and Jay.
Okay.
Nice. Top 5 most impactful films, Trayvon.
Ooh, wow.
You first. Impactful films. Top 5.
In no particular order, I'm gonna say Do the Right Thing, Boys in the Hood, The Godfather, Moonlight, and oh God, what's the 5th one? And Two Distant Strangers.
Yes. If you ever do a black version of Godfather, I'm getting into the business. Matt walking me in, so I would be perfect for that movie.
Van, if you could sit at any game courtside in NBA history, what game would it be?
Oh shit, the 81 pointer.
Oh
yeah,
Toronto.
I don't give a fuck if we lost. How good we were because we did win the game. But man, to watch that great cook like that
on TV is interesting.
And the narrative, like we were down. Kobe did what he had to do to win. So that would be the one. Now there were games that, like, obviously, you know, bigger games and stuff like that. But to watch him do that.
If you could be on any movie set ever to see how it unfolded, what movie would it be?
Thank you, Matt.
Good ass question.
There's 2 movies in my head, and I'm having a hard time picking one.
Tell us both. You can use both.
It would either have to be Do the Right Thing or The Godfather 2.
Second one.
Mine would be Reservoir Dogs.
That would be a good one. Well, shit, we know.
You know, it's funny you said that.
That was your second movie?
No, it's because I watched Reservoir Dogs recently, and Lawrence Bender's one of our producers. Shout out to Lawrence.
He produced
and
that.
I text him about this, and I'm always very blunt about it with him. That movie don't hold up, man.
Nigga, you out your fucking mind.
It don't hold up.
It's good to
Reservoir
me, bro.
Dogs is fucking amazing.
It don't hold up, bro.
One thing about it, you can't predict it. Like, you can't predict what's gonna happen.
Look, man, there is so many absolutely unnecessary niggas in Reservoir Dogs that it is unwatchable.
Who's unnecessary?
Go watch the first 20 minutes. Go watch the first 20 minutes of Reservoir Dogs today, and tell me after you watch it that you're not going. You can't pick out 5 niggas that don't need to be in the script.
Any nigga that's not said by a nigga in the movie not supposed to be in the script. What you mean? That's really the truth.
It don't hold up to me, man. It don't hold up to me. But, and I say that as a person who loved that movie,
right,
and hadn't watched it in a long time. And like last month, I put it on and go, damn, man, this just feels like gratuitous in a way that I'm not really sure about anymore. And but no, man. Shout out to Lawrence.
Godfather 2.
Van, 5 dinner guests, dead or alive.
Okay.
You know this gonna be all over the place.
Tough. So it's like Ella Baker.
For our fans, who is Ella Baker?
Ella Baker is one of the most not talked about people in Black history to me.
Okay.
She's a Black woman that was very vital in the founding of SNCC and was like a mentor to John Lewis and Stokely Carmichael and guys like that.
Nice.
She's like amazing. So I hope to bring her story out to the masses one day. So I would say Ella Baker. Damn, it's a tough question. Marvin Gaye. I think Marvin Gaye had an incredible life. Barack Obama. I want to meet Barack Obama. I've never met Barack Obama before. Stanley Kubrick. And probably James Baldwin.
Interesting table.
Yeah, interesting table. Probably James Baldwin.
Trey?
That's hard though.
5, dead or alive.
I would definitely say Baldwin. He's on my shirt right now. That's like one of my gods. Obama, for sure. Malcolm.
Yep, my favorite.
His birthday yesterday, right?
Yeah,
or today.
yesterday. Happy late birthday.
Malcolm and Martin. You know why? Because that would be an interesting conversation in 2021. Just to contextualize that.
Give him a little alcohol, both of them a little alcohol, and see what happens.
And then to just really.
You don't want to get Martin too drunk.
Word.
And then I think maybe to really mix it up, I throw Hove in there.
Oh, okay.
Just because I just imagine how fucking crazy that would be.
This question is for both of y'all. Who do y'all want to see on this show?
I want to see y'all rap with Obama, man.
That would be dope as fuck too.
Yeah.
I want to see that conversation.
That would be like the Sean King episode with me. I probably wouldn't say much. I'd just be sitting there listening.
That'd be dope.
Obama got to smoke though.
I'm sure he did. You just smoke squares.
Yeah, he's just like
I
Obama.
thought he used to smoke trees.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Obama got to smoke. I want to just see Obama.
I mean, look,
he got them purple lips.
Showtime got Showtime.
He got them. I know what smoking lips look like.
His lineage.
And 9 out of 10 times I could tell a smoker by his lips.
But that's
mine purple.
Yeah, that's when I knew Jack got traded to the Warriors. I looked at his lips.
You.
I knew he smoked. I was like, "We gonna get along just fine." And look at us now, 12 years later. Anyway, man, fellas, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Again,
man.
Congratulations on the Oscar and all the success, and hopefully it opens plenty of doors for you guys and your team.
Can I ask y'all one question before y'all go?
Yeah, please.
Just one basketball question.
Yes, sir.
If the Warriors get in as an AC, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a 7-game series between these AC Warriors and the We Believe Warriors.
If they got Clay and all them, I don't know.
No, this team
not if they got Clay.
Oh, this team right now?
This team right now.
Yeah, we got them.
We might be able to get them.
No Clay, no KD, we got them.
That's a good question.
If they ain't got Clay, we for sure got them.
So I'm talking about this 8-seed Warriors.
We got them.
Versus the AC
we
Believe Warriors.
We would trap the fuck out of Steph everywhere, and then we would just be able to control everybody else.
We got about 5 people we can throw at Steph.
Y'all playing in this era now.
Yeah, we good.
Okay.
But we started that kind of basketball, though. We shot a bunch of threes.
We started that.
Right. All right.
That's a great question.
It's just Steph. It's just Steph. You don't know what Steph gonna do.
When you add Clay to the mix,
it's like, yeah, I wouldn't get. We ain't got a chance. You add Clay. Yeah, you add Clay. We don't even want to go to the game.
Yeah, Clay being hurt with this team would just. I like our chance.
They got some young studs now.
I like their team.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
But I'm talking about this AC right here. No Wiseman. I know it's not this.
8th versus 8th.
8 versus 8.
Yeah.
No Wiseman.
We got a good chance.
No nobody.
We got a good chance.
Okay.
I like that. Good question. Well, that's a wrap. All the smoke. Travon Free, Van Lathan, Oscar Award winners. Congrats again, fellas.
Thanks,
you can catch us on Showtime Basketball YouTube and the iHeart platform, Black Effects. We'll see y'all next week.
There he is, the pound-for-pound king in the sport of boxing. When Floyd Mayweather fights, it is a spectacle.
Hey, got your hat. Got your hat. My brother, bro. Got your fucking hat.
When your idols become your rivals, that shit sucks. I'm looking Floyd in his beady little eyes at the press conference, and I'm like, this is one of the greatest boxers of our generation. I'm gonna beat the shit out of him.
You got the once defeated versus the undefeated. I go online, yo, you're gonna get your fucking ass beat. You're gonna die in the ring. Yo, the motto for this fight is fuck everyone. This is a pro-ass fight against the best fighter on the planet. Suck my dick.